So yeah, 48 hours in Amsterdam. Let's go! Okay, so the Netherlands, also commonly incorrectly referred to as Holland. Why? Well, actually, near Amsterdam, there's actually a region and a province called Holland, which people mistakenly confuse as the whole country. So now it's used interchangeably as Holland or the Netherlands, even though it's incorrect and the actual name of it is the Netherlands. Amsterdam itself is steeped in history. It's one of Europe's largest historic centres. Although, to be fair, a lot of European cities will say that. But to me, Amsterdam genuinely does seem to have it because it's not only one of the oldest historic centres, but the fact that it has over 7,000 historically listed buildings, and the whole city centre is a UNESCO heritage site, which is obviously key tick. What also really strikes me is with Amsterdam is that unlike Brussels and London and Paris, all the newer, glassy, shiny buildings are way outside of the city centre, and instead the city centre, the historic city centre, is within the canal rings, this UNESCO heritage site. So you really do feel like this old rustic charm. You don't really feel like you're in a capital so much. You feel like you're in more of just a massive sprawling village. It's got quite a relaxed feel to it, and you know just the architecture as well is actually just stunning. So. Okay, so here we go. 48 hours in Amsterdam starting now. Okay, so it's Friday evening, about 6 PM. You're going to be arriving into Amsterdam Schiphol Airport or Grand Central Station, depending on your method of transport. Do not drive from England to try and get here, or get the bus. I would not recommend it. It's a long journey. Maybe the bus if you've got the time and you can get it for cheap, but don't drive because honestly, the amount you'll spend in petrol, it will be completely negated by the flight prices. You can get a flight for about 50-60 quid. You do not need to drive. Do not drive. It's fucking long. So yeah, even if you're flying or getting the train in, if you're flying, just get the train into the city, get the shuttle train into the city centre. It only takes about 15 minutes. About the same amount of time it would take to get a cab. The only difference is the price. If you get a cab, you're paying about €50. Even if you get an Uber cab, wouldn't recommend it. If you're getting the train though, it will take you right into the city centre where all the hotels are. So easy. In that way, then you could probably be at your hotel, checked in about 7 o'clock. So yeah, get in. Get out, don't faff about, just dump your stuff, have a shower, get changed, and get ready for a night out, and just go straight out and be aiming to leave the hotel by 8 o'clock. No faffing, you've only got 48 hours in Amsterdam, let's go! Let's go! Okay, so yeah, and obviously you want to grab some dinner on your way out. I'm not going to recommend specific places to eat because, one, it will take all day. Two, I don't know where your hotel's going to be based, and to be honest, we just don't have the time for you to just start faffing about trying to work out different restaurants in different parts of cities that you like the look of on TripAdvisor. If you want to do that, go ahead, but to be honest, I think it's a bit of a waste of time. I think you're just better off just picking one that's near you and just getting some food down yourself. The main things obviously to look out for though is trying to have some Dutch cuisine, because that is why you're here. So, in terms of Dutch cuisine, there's a couple of things you need to look out for. The first one up is bitterballen, which is basically like deep fried balls of beef, flour, spices and herbs. They're pretty tasty. Second thing to try is stamppop, which is basically smoked sausage served on like a bed of it's like mashed potato with like kale and carrots mashed into it. It's pretty tasty. And the last thing to try as well is gerootpeiling, which is, I've definitely pronounced that wrong, sorry. It's basically smoked eel. It used to be a delicacy in Amsterdam, people used to have it all the time, but now it's becoming a bit rarer, a bit more hard to find, but if you find it, you're having a historic Dutch dish. Okay, so now it's about 9 o'clock. Bear in mind, well, hopefully you haven't faffed about too much. If not, it's probably about 10, 11. If you're waiting for a couple of girls, it's probably like 2 o'clock in the morning and they're still not ready for the night out. Shots fired. Okay, one thing you should probably know actually about the Dutch nightlife is that actually, because it's seen as such an integral part of Dutch culture, they've actually appointed a nighttime mayor in Amsterdam to oversee nocturnal activities. So do not get blind drunk, because you're going to miss out on so much cool stuff that they have going on over there. Come on. So yeah, it's 9 PM and the first thing I recommend to do is get straight out into the red light district. Let's not just faff about this, let's just go there. Be wary of Die Wallen, that's the name of the area. This place isn't a joke. It's run by fucking gangs, drug traffickers, etc. It's not. It's obviously a seedy place. It's not. Just understand that. Just be careful when you're there. Don't go down any dodgy side streets. Don't buy things from strangers. Do not start taking photos of the girls and doors because you have your phone or camera taken off you. It causes unnecessary aggro. Obviously, it's safe. There's a high police presence, but just don't be a twat and stay safe and just don't start wandering off down side streets with hookers. But yeah, just enjoy yourself and don't get too rowdy. And don't be afraid of the shows either. They're well worth it. They're probably about 20, 25 euros. You could probably negotiate a little bit if you're in a fairly big group, and just kind of get involved. Just do it. It's nothing to be scared of. I've ended up on stage. I got tit slapped by a prostitute. We're all I'm gonna hold my hands up. That happened. These things happen. We just move past them. Great life experiences and they're funny as hell to talk about later. So definitely recommend those. Not tit slaps. Get in at shows. Do the shows. You get free beer out of it as well. So yeah, it's worth it. Educational point as well. The poles in the red light district clubs are not the only poles that support the city. The city itself is actually supported by hundreds of thousands of poles that are bedded into the marshy, wet soil of Amsterdam. Because obviously it's below sea level, so it's a bit there. And there's actually 6,000 poles that support even the Grand Central Station. So yeah, who said this video wasn't going to be educational? Okay, so now it's probably about 10, 11, depending on how long you spent in the red light district. Wiki. By this point I'd recommend obviously just kind of heading straight out. In terms of club vibes and stuff like that, I can't really recommend anything specific because one, DJ rosters change too quickly, club nights change from night to night, themes, etc., key events that might be on, so on and so forth. So the best thing to do actually is just to ask the receptionist at your hotel or hostel, because they're going to know the ins and outs of the nightlife, probably because they're, okay, I'm stereotyping here a bit, but they are normally much younger and they're going to know the vibes on the night. Or check out Facebook and Twitter event pages for key clubs, and you kind of get a bit of an indication on what kind of music they're playing, what kind of clubs, what kind of nights are going on, etc. You kind of get a bit more of a feel for it. Don't just go in blind. Do not end up at Club Air. Don't recommend it at all. So yeah, a little bit of a note as well about obviously the Dutch music scene. I'm not sure obviously if you're aware, but Holland's produced some of the world's largest DJs, including Tiesto, Armando van Buuren, Freddy Legrand, Afrojack, Hardwell. So the Dutch love EDM, especially more the techno kind of end of the EDM spectrum. So you definitely need to get out there and just experience it, whether you want to or not. You probably will experience it, especially some of the bigger clubs. They're gonna be playing this. Okay, so yeah, end of the night out as well. Make sure you grab some food. Do not end up in McDonald's. Just grab some food. Make sure to just dull down the hangover. There's quite a few 24-hour eating places that just you just pop in a pound, and it's almost like a vending machine that comes out and pops out really disgusting cheap food, a bit of an off colour as well. Had them a couple of times, didn't get food poisoning. So if you see one of those, keep experiencing Dutch culture. Come on, guys. I know you're probably hanging from the night before, but come on, guys. You've only got 48 hours in Amsterdam. You need to get out. You need to get hit in the city. You need to get out there. One of the things I would say is if you've got the time or the money to, I would recommend hiring a bike out for the 2 days. Dutch obviously love cycling. In fact, 25,000 bikes end up in the canals in Amsterdam. So the first thing I'm going to say to do is actually head over back to Grand Central Station, and there's a ferry called the IJ ferries, and it's like a public transport ferry. It takes you out to basically a start-up kind of area that's being redeveloped at the moment. To be honest, that's not the main point. The main point is actually to just get on a canal boat and kind of see Amsterdam from the water without paying the extortionate tourist fees in the city centre, because they are extortionate. Then you're stuck on a boat. Yeah, it's fine if you've got the money for it, but if you don't, this is honestly just as good. And you don't have to do everything the tourists are doing. Get out there and do something that the locals are doing. A bit more genuine experience. And then when you get back, I'd recommend then going over from Grand Central Station to the public library. Why? Because the public library has 7 floors, it's free to enter, and from the top you'll get views over the city. So it's pretty nice. Again, there's a coffee house up there, not that kind of coffee, no, not that kind of coffee shop, you know what I mean. Grab a coffee, have a view over the city, help work through the hangover, and then yeah, head back down and you're ready for lunch and you've actually seen quite a lot of Amsterdam. So you're doing well for a hangover, and hopefully by this point you've actually managed to work it off a little bit, work up a bit of an appetite for lunch, especially for those who have skipped breakfast because you're feeling too sick. I say that because that's normally me. So yeah, we're talking early afternoon then, so a couple more things to recommend. You can either, if you've got quite a bit of money, not quite a bit, but about 30-40 quid per person, is to hire, I don't think it's that much money for what you're getting out of this. It's basically like a tugboat jacuzzi. So it goes around the canals in a little tugboat. You can have some beers. It's a very nice way to spend your afternoons. So yeah, you could do that. Or alternatively, this is one thing I do really recommend you do, is the free walking tours. Every city in Europe has them in some form. They say they're free, but obviously you just got to give a little tip at the end to kind of like, say thanks. Normally about like 5-10 euros or something. I'd say 10. Don't be tight. And yeah, the tours are normally about an hour and a half. Take you around the city centres, kind of give you a bit of a locals perspective. You've got to ask some questions and stuff. So yeah, so kind of like the second day kind of really focuses a bit more on actually seeing the city, and like, because obviously you've experienced the nightlife. Today's all about just like seeing the city, get some good photos, working off that hangover. Nothing too intense, nothing too culturally like focused, because that requires brain power, and that was just frazzled last night. Techno. So yeah, go grab some dinner, and then I'd really recommend as well for the evening just to kind of just take it chilled, like 6 to 7 beyond. Just take it chilled. Go chill out in like a cafe, bar, whatever. There's a couple of jazz bars as well near Grand Central Station. They're pretty cool. And yeah, just kind of just soak up the atmosphere, especially as well for the alfresco culture. If you're from Britain, we don't have that. We don't have that opportunity to really sit outside and just enjoy each other's company and have drinks and in a quite nice environment. So I'd really take advantage of that. And now, time for bed. Yeah, if you want, or you can go out again. Like, if you're wild or you're 18 and your liver can actually still handle that much alcohol. As for the rest of us OAPs, we're going to bed. And so yeah, so here dawns. Second day, obviously you've pre-bought your Anne Frank tickets. Yeah, pre-buy your Anne Frank tickets, because there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't. You can do it all online, and it's pretty easy. You can just book a specific time slot. That way you can avoid all the queues. So that's what I recommend doing Sunday morning, before or after you check out, depending on obviously your hotel times. Obviously when you check out, I'd recommend trying to leave your luggage and stuff in the hotel, like they'll have like a storage room or something, so you can just leave it in. That way you can still get out and explore the city a little bit more. Kind of like depends on obviously when your flight is, depends on when you're leaving, but you'll probably have a little bit of time after you've done Anne Frank's and had some lunch in the morning, to kind of either hit probably Van Gogh's museum, either the Heineken factory, or Reykjavik's museum, which is basically, that museum was more to do with like the art and the culture of Amsterdam and Holland. So it's kind of obviously up to yourselves which one you want to pick. To be honest, I would steer away from the Heineken factory, but that's just me, because I think factory tours like that, I've done quite a fair few of them, they get pretty samey after a while. They're fairly boring. It's all the same kind of layout and story, and you get to try the product, and it's just all a big sell for the Heineken itself. It's not, and Heineken's not even that great. Like, I'd more recommend going to Van Gogh. I think that's just more culturally interesting for me. Especially because if you want to really kind of cover everything, so you would have hit the nightlife on the Friday night, seen the city, a lot of it on the Saturday, and experienced the city and the culture itself, and then third day you kind of like get a bit more of a perspective on the history and the arts and the cultural side of Amsterdam. I feel like if you manage to hit all that, you've kind of had a very, very successful trip. So yeah, so by this point now, it's time to head back to the hotel and start making your way to either Grand Central Station or the airport. Try not to cry as you go home. So that's your 48 hours in Amsterdam. That's your itinerary. If you want to print out of this, I'll pop a link in the comment section below. And hope you enjoyed the video. Hello. So, did you like my video? If you did, and you want to notch another one, I'm gonna click a link, secret link, right here. That's why it's dark. Secret link for Off the Beaten Track, right here.